There is some big breaking news about the fourth stimulus payment. A group of Democratic California lawmakers rolled out a proposal this week to send out a $400 rebate check to individual taxpayers to ease some of the burdens of recent record-setting gas prices. Now, this plan would pay out $400 to each individual who pays income tax in the state, regardless if they own a vehicle, and effectively would operate as a one-year gas tax holiday. A state official has told reporters that the effort is coming in a period when gas in California has increased in each of the past 23 days. Now, under this proposal, lawmakers would use a portion of the state's roughly $45 billion budget surplus to help cover the increased cost of gasoline and the general increase in the cost of goods and services. In a formal request to California Governor Gavin Newsom, they wrote that this proposed $400 rebate would cover the current 51 cents per gallon gas tax for one full year of weekly fill-ups. The lawmakers also said that it is important every taxpayer get the rebate because they too have seen their living expenses increase, due at least in part to the increased cost of gasoline. But friends, these $400 checks may not be the only form of legislation for Californians coming from the legislature in the time to come, particularly for low and middle income earners, everybody. According to a state representative, there is a separate legislation from the proposed tax rebate that has been floated by Governor Newsom this month in his State of the State address. During a recent speech, Newsom said, "Working legislative leadership, I'll be submitting a proposal to put money back in the pockets of Californians." Now, the new timeline for the fourth stimulus check, everybody, is also being discussed as we speak. A new law is being proposed in the state of Connecticut that may give some much-needed help to struggling families. As the tax season is rapidly approaching, Americans are looking for ways and breaks where they can. Now, lawmakers in the state of Connecticut want to take some action on this. The child tax credit, sponsored by 7 Connecticut representatives, will come in addition to crisis relief, stimulus checks, and a temporary boosted federal child tax credit. The proposed law would offer families with $600 checks per child. The state is currently operating on a projected surplus of $1.48 billion, leaving many to applaud the proposed bill. Connecticut governor also announced the proposed $336 million in tax cuts. It provides a relief to millions. However, buddy, there are eligibility requirements that must be met first. Income qualifications include up to $100,000 per individual filers and up to $160,000 for heads of households. The child tax credit under the American Rescue Plan was the largest in history. Under the law, families could get an increased tax break of $3,000 for every child ages 6 to 17. Now, if you did not reside in the state of Connecticut, there are many other states that are currently offering their own child tax credit. Other states offering relief are California, Idaho, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, and New York. Mitt Romney has also made his Republican-friendly version of the expanded child tax credit that he hopes could get some support. His proposal would bring back the direct monthly payments that many parents used for 6 months last year to cover the cost of food, clothing, and childcare. But Romney's form of extra monthly payments would add a stringent of work requirements, slash programs that aid vulnerable Americans, and make significant changes to the tax code. It's also important to remember that bipartisan bill might be the only way for the expanded child tax credit to land on President Biden's desk. Romney has largely worked with fellow Republicans on this plan, but conversations with Democrats have increased in the last month or so. Folks, that's the breaking news about the fourth stimulus check that I want you to know. If you have any more questions on this, feel free to leave them in the comments down below.
We have good intentions as it relates to the conversation and sometimes the debate around providing high-quality child care to folks who are in desperate need of it. I think about the approach that was going to be taken in the Build Back Better plan. That approach would have increased, according to the progressive think tanks, increased the cost of child care from $15,888 to around $29,000 in an attempt to make child care more affordable. I think they would have made child care less affordable. And again, we look at creating multiple systems, or at least a different approach to child care that actually is harder to manage for the average family when you think about the 12 million kids today who are in child care that is not fused to a family member. Those kids need the highest quality of access possible. If we want to see folks coming back to work, solving this problem, bridging the gap, is so critically important to the kids who are literally looking for a safe place to learn, parents who are looking for a way to be able to have their kids in a safe environment, a good environment so they can continue to work, because you can't be at work and at home at the same time. And we saw that challenge exacerbated throughout the pandemic. Parents who needed to be at work but could not find a place for their kids had to make what was an easy choice for most parents: take care of your kids first. And that's why so many parents work. And so one of the things I've done over the last 4, I think maybe 6 years ago, is make sure that we kept the choice in the hands of the parents through the legislation and the amendments that I made to legislation several years ago. And today I introduced legislation, the Child Care and Development Block Grant Reauthorization Act of 2022, because the Child Care and Development Block Grant Program has assisted working families and their children for more than 30 years, all while ensuring that parents have maximum freedom to make the best decisions for their children. In South Carolina today, thousands upon thousands of kids under the age of 6 and their parents in the workforce need those options in their quiver, so to speak, to make the best decisions for their kids. This is a lifeline for low-income families looking to participate in the workforce.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Speaker, on the last question, on the State of the Union, we did see numerous outbursts from Representatives Boebert and Green during President Biden's speech. As I'm sure you probably remember, when Congressman Joe Wilson yelled "You lie" at President Obama in 2009, the House actually passed a resolution of disapproval on that. We haven't heard any talk of that now, but I'm wondering just what is your reaction to those outbursts? Should any action be taken, and what does it say about this?
Let me just say this. I agree with what Senator Lindsey Graham said. Shut up. That's what he said to them. I think they should just shut up.
The IRS issued what is called plus-up payments in addition to the initial direct deposit of stimulus checks last year for millions of Americans. Overall, folks, if you received your full amount, then here, know this. In advance to the third stimulus check, you will not qualify for any more money when you file the return, and you do not claim the recovery rebate credit. And the big news is even that President Biden said the Build Back Better is close to passing the Senate and delivering relief to people who have struggled during this time. Joe Biden is sticking to his assertions that passing his Build Back Better agenda will help rising inflation. And during a press conference this week, Biden actually said if you're a working class family, it hurts. And that's why his Build Back Better plan is here. Families are getting clobbered by the cost of everyday things. And it's great to see that the deal, everybody, is going to be reached very soon by members in Congress, because we all know that they should be doing a better job on this, and stimulus payments are definitely needed by so many people. So it's great to see that a deal is going to be reached soon, and Biden is meeting with actually several executives from all over the country, and they're discussing the U.S. economic recovery